really young, down-to-earth kind of couple. So they wouldn't just stick to the old world, you know, French or Italian. So I then was thinking, well, Prince Harry loves Africa. He's even taken Meghan to Africa. And he also has a charity he loves in Lesotho in South Africa. And South Africa is making fantastic wines. And their white wines in particular, I think, are just so exciting. So I've actually chosen this wine here. It's called Serwer, and it's from the Swartland, which is probably the most cutting edge, cool, funky wine producing region in South Africa. And they're a pretty cool couple.
Taste. You can have tiny tasters or smaller glasses.
Apparently, Meghan is a huge fan. She's got expensive taste, but good taste, of the Super Tuscan Tianello, which is probably around £270 a bottle. 300 depends where you're getting it from. So if you want a really succulent, similar taste to these sun-baked grapes in Tuscany, there's a wonderful winery in Amelia Romagna. Meghan is meant to be a wine lover, and she loves, and she talks about her love of wine. So I think she probably would have, at least with the reds, I think she definitely will have input. And I can absolutely see Prince Harry and his friends enjoying this very convivial wine, which is then, it's reflected in the rather fun and colourful label. So this is very easy to drink on its own, but will be fantastic with a meat dish, which I'm sure they will have. It's also £14 a bottle. So this is, I think, much more in keeping with their ethos and being savvy with what they do decide to spend their time and money on. Well, it's amazing actually how influential royal taste has been for the nation as a whole. As early as 1152, when Henry Plantagenet married Eleanor of Aquitaine, England basically owned Gascony and southwest of France. We actually owned Bordeaux, and therefore we were able to set up amazing trade with them, and by far the cheapest wine to get hold of was from Bordeaux. In the 1300s, they would say about 300 million bottles of today's modern wine bottle was reaching British shores. And I must admit, Bordeaux wine was very different back then. It would have been more like a really, really bad mulled wine, because back then, Bordeaux was marshland. They had to wait until the Dutch came to drain it all out to actually make any wines of real quality, which is what we think of when we talk about claret or Bordeaux wines now. Champagne or English sparkling wine. So who are the next big buyers after the Americans? I think you want to have a toast, so they'll probably have a royal wedding breakfast, and you want to have something sparkling. And I wanted to go down the vein of what Wills and Kate did, because I think the royal family, they love their English wine. They might have maybe more input in the sparkling wine. I know that they themselves, as a family, love English sparkling wine because they even have their own vineyard in Great Windsor Park. I think they planted that in 2011. The first vintage could theoretically have been 2013. It's probably a small, though, quantity, so I'm not sure if they would be willing or quite frankly able to host the royal breakfast, wedding breakfast with their own sparkling wine, but maybe they would have more say on the English side of things. They've definitely chosen their wedding cake, which is not the traditional wedding cake. They've absolutely had their kind of imprint on that, and they've chosen banana cake. And I know that Kate Middleton, for the kind of reception afterwards and the dinner, she wanted to have crack baby cocktails. So if they were going along that line of thought, and Prince Harry loves to party, they probably would have their own cocktail. And I would just suggest, if they wanted a cocktail to go with their banana cake, definitely go for something rum-based. Or if you're wanting to be classy, really classy, you could go for maybe a Madeira